I was gonna go outside, but I figured, fuck it. Why not just do it in the crib, you know what I'm saying? A lot of people are curious. They're like, yo, M1, you pay bills? Fuck no. Imagine paying bills and like, it's funny because like the way I look at, I know the title of this video. I might even like switch this up just to like start this on a juicy scale. You know what I'm saying? Oh, like I'm looking at school as like this capitalistic weight that is attached to your neck or your leg, and all it does is just sink you at the bottom of the ocean and just preparing you to basically fail, right? You enter life, you enter this so-called life just completely drowning in debt, useless shit that you know that's completely made up. And this is it's not even like useful, you know what I'm saying? Like you go into life completely blind and indoctrinated. You don't know what the fuck you're doing. And especially and you know, it's so ironic, dude, like now we're living in this digital world where AI is becoming so advanced and it just doesn't even feel useful because of all these monopolistic industries. Have predatorily made life just so uncanny and disillusioned, you know? So, anyways, on the note of the digital feminism video that I made a while back, got some low views, I'd imagine why. But I wanted to talk about how like this patriarchy blinds men into like psychological bullying, right? So I talked about digital feminism. Now I'm gonna talk about how the patriarchy has blinded men and poisoned their divine masculine energies. First things first, right? Or third. Uh, so yeah, I think the system was purposely made to blind men and to blind their divine masculine essence and responsibilities. You know, they've already trapped the women with this so-called, you know, forcing women to quote unquote forcing them to be masculine, putting them in a box and poisoning their, you know, their feminine touches. You know, obviously the women are supposed to be with the kids and they're supposed to, you know, look out for the men, at least like emotionally and spiritually, you feel me? Out here in this life or whatever the case, just, you know, if you're in a relationship or whatnot, you know, and obviously mothers and daughters and sons, all that shit. And have completely are just ego driven in this monopolistic world because they've been groomed to be that way, right? And, you know, I you watch how men are becoming, unfortunately, I don't know, they're being forced to be, oh shit, being forced being forced to when you're psychologically groomed from birth and you're forced to be like to live this unrealistic grifting lifestyle that's not genuine, and in all your life you're told to quote unquote hack your way through life by being a psychological grifter and by not taking quote unquote responsibility, you know, for a monopolistic world that is unnatural. So that's first things first. You know, you'd imagine what that do to someone's mental health, like my mental health to be exact. And obviously, this is a cry out for help. You feel me? But some people are not brave enough to just like sit down and like let me just record this shit and get it off my chest. Some people just might commit, you know, jump off a bridge or do other violent shit. I'm not gonna do that. I'd rather just sit here and talk about it. Maybe just vent, you know, without the eyes. You feel me? But you know, that's not the case. You know, maybe I could just get off my chest. You know what I'm saying? But I don't know. I just find it kind of weird, especially when you have a lot of women who speak their truth. And as someone who has balanced, you know, I've unironically I've healed some way somehow in this world. And I don't mind women speaking their truth. I'm not going to be triggered by women speaking their truth. You know what I'm saying? You see a lot of men out here who are so triggered by just women existing and speaking their truth because they're so blinded by the patriarchy that they want to like quote unquote control them and like compress them and like squeeze them into a box. Like how dare you, a woman in this feminine, you're existing, you're doing your thing and you're breathing and you have an opinion, you want to say some shit or you want to like speak your voice or speak your truth or whatever, And I just find that so weird. And I'm just like, why does that make you like feel some type of way, nigga? Like that's just weird. Like, I'm speaking my truth. You feel me? I'm not gonna like let anyone shut me down. You know what I'm saying? But I see shit like and obviously it inevitably turns to bullying, which is that you inevitably trick you, you trick your brain into like viewing women as just like a body part, quite literally, which is weird. Like obviously I love women, nigga. I love pussy. You know what I'm saying? No weird shit and all that. But I love women, obviously. You know what I'm saying? And like if they speak their truth, I'm not gonna just like be triggered by that. Because I understand what's going on in this world. But nevertheless, it's just it's so weird, and especially when it comes to our community, the brown community, the brownie community. You see a lot of black men who've been so emotionally, especially when it comes to like the quote unquote the hood, the suburbs, whatever you want to call it. You see a lot of black men who don't they get into like this quote unquote gangsterism lifestyle because they are so emotionally wounded at the core. And it's just like, oh nigga, like I'm that nigga, with the Glock 25 and shit like that. And it's just like, back in the days, like back in the days, I used to see shit like that, and I used to be so scared. Like I was like, oh shit, this is a nigga with the Glock, and he's like crying out for help, but nobody sees that. People think it's cool. Like, oh, let me just copy and be that nigga instead of just speaking your truth. You know what I'm saying? As you get older, you see shit like that, and you want to like stay far away from it. Which is why I'm cooped up in this old jail box, nigga. I don't even pay for bills. I'm not even gonna lie to you. Fuck this world, no cap. You feel me? But the Birdman, infamous.
I promise you'll need 2 jobs just to get at me. It's OFV, all of it. Jamie, James, and MJ, comma, no apostrophe. Mason, like Ye and Hove, recording out of the basement. Record until we see a bigger big roll.